Afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you've had a good, great morning. I think we had some great conversation at breakfast with the table topic conversations. I heard a lot of great feedback, and then I think there were a few sessions going on this morning, and I think all is well. Is that right? All's well? Everybody's good? All right. I started to say what President Obama said. Fired up? There we go. All right. All right. Want to take just a side step for just a moment. One of our staffers is celebrating a birthday today. So if you all would join me in celebrating Tim Harvey and singing happy birthday to Tim. Here we go. Stand up, Tim, so they know who you are. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tim. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday, Tim. Happy birthday. And you thought we forgot about you this morning. Okay, Tim, can you come up and help me with something? Tim's going to pull the winning ticket for the $100 Amazon gift card. So get your tickets ready. All right, Tim, it's on you. All right, here we go. The number is 668673. We got it? Dan. All right, Tim, one more time. Now, let me warn you. You do know Bruce got fired yesterday when he didn't. Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, 668774. We got one. Tim, you get to keep your job. Is it your ticket? All right, just see the ladies at see Rachel. All right. Always good to have fun, right? But always good to work. All right. So coming next will be our second core member of the year, Mr. Corey Shears from Excel Conservation Corps. The Excel Conservation Corps aims to help its members earn a Grade 3 municipal wastewater operations license. The license is required to obtain an entry-level wastewater operator job in a wastewater treatment plant. Partly because of Corey's leadership, Corey's cohort asked if the Corps could prepare them for Grade 5 licenses immediately after graduation. The Corps had never done this before, but they decided to give it a try. Just like a Corps, we always give it a try, don't we? 5 members took the Grade 5 class, and to date, 4 of them obtained their Grade 5 license. Normally, graduates would start at $21 to $22 an hour. So far, 2 graduates who obtained their Grade 5 license were hired at $29 to $30 an hour. Corey always went above and beyond. He asked for extra practice questions before exams, gladly tutored his peers, and motivated fellow students to strive for more. Corey established himself not only as driven, disciplined, and dedicated, but he showed that he wanted his fellow Corps members to succeed. When participating in the water conservation projects, Corey stepped up as a leader to make sure that the tasks were completed. He encouraged others when they hesitated or forgot a procedure. He really shined in the classroom. He consistently got the highest grades on weekly tests, but he didn't get a big head. Instead, he started reaching out to fellow Corps members to show them how they could solve a math problem or explain a wastewater treatment process that hadn't been mastered. Corps members began to go to Corey immediately after an exam to ask him to explain their mistakes. Corey continues to work part-time as an instructor at the Corps and wanting to give back while lifting up others. Please join me in welcoming Corps Member of the Year, Corey Shears.
Hello there. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good lunch. My name is Corey Shears III. I'm 25 years old from Boston, Massachusetts, and I serve with Excel Conservation Corps. I've first heard about the Conservation Corps through my father. And like the all-knowing 24-year-old I was at the time, I thought to myself, who cares? Who cares about some conservation, conversation, whatever? Sounds like a waste of time. Now here I stand before you 10 months later, so suffice to say, may have just been a little bit wrong. Just a little. So what changed? I decided to give the Corps a chance because I wanted a job that was both impactful and fulfilling. Also, it was just 10 weeks long. So in the end, I thought, why not at least try it, right? Well, it's been a great experience thus far. I've got to learn about, clean, as well as maintain an elementary school's green infrastructure garden. Got to witness the effects of a drought firsthand. And my personal favorite, got to go kayaking. And no, I have not fallen in. Now, when I first got to Excel, needless to say, I didn't have high expectations. Although, as I went through the 10-week wastewater course during the summer, I quickly found out that Excel is all about Corps member success and growth. Every staff member believed in me, even during the times I didn't believe in myself. They also supported and encouraged everyone to do or at least try things out of their comfort zone, like giving speeches. Unfortunately, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. At the end of the course, one of our instructors had to leave on extremely short notice, which would mean that the next group after mine wouldn't get the same full Corps experience that I had. And I was really disappointed when I found that out. That's why when our Corps director, Dawn, asked me to fill in, I immediately agreed. Granted, I was incredibly nervous and had second thoughts about doing it, as I've never taught in front of a group of people before. I also shuddered at the thought of being in front of everyone, like right now. If it wasn't for the reassurance and guidance I received from my now co-staff members, I don't know if I would have followed through with teaching. The funny part is, after all that worrying, it turns out that being an instructor is fairly straightforward, most of the time, enjoyable and very rewarding. All the Corps members I've taught so far are both friendly and eager to learn. My favorite experience thus far was when a Corps member from my cohort needed help passing a state exam. When he took his state exam the first time, he failed it by just 3 questions. I could tell from talking to him that really hit him hard and felt like a gut punch, especially since he's worked all summer long incredibly hard to pass. And he had immense pressure to pass due to his life situation. Our Corps director asked me to work with him one-on-one to see if I could help him pass, and I was determined to see my friend succeed. So when I got home that evening, I spent hours upon hours brainstorming, creating study guides and exercises to help him in the areas he struggled in. I worked with him for about 2 weeks. When we first started, he didn't do too well with remembering some of the information, and the stuff he did remember, he would sometimes second guess himself, so he'd end up getting confused and really frustrated. But by the time the 2 weeks were over, he knew everything like the back of his hand. He was also more positive and confident about retaking the exam. On his test day, I was so incredibly nervous that you would think I was taking the exam. When he finished and told me he passed, I experienced relief, satisfaction, and happiness all at once. He is now currently working as a wastewater operator and absolutely loves his job. It felt great being such a positive impact on someone's life like that. Looking back on my time so far with Excel, I've noticed how much I've personally grown. I used to be reserved, quiet, and somewhat timid. Now, while I wouldn't say I'm the most outgoing type of person, I certainly am a far cry from who I was before I joined the Corps. I now look forward to group meetings, trying new things, and I don't mind public speaking. It's quite a surreal experience, honestly, and one of the reasons I'm still at Excel. I want to help give others that same growth experience I had. Another reason I've stayed is because I think our cores all have an important role in society. With how often people are on social media and communicating online, cores have the unique capability of bringing people together in person, allowing them to build lasting friendships and bonds, all while making a difference in their communities. All in all, if you are to take anything away from this, please know that anyone you meet has the potential to be great. They may just need the right people behind them and a little push. Every core has the ability to change someone's life, just like it changed mine. Thank you for listening. Thanks to the Core Network for allowing me to speak. Thank you to Excel for helping me every step of the way. And last but certainly not least, happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey. As we get ready to shift for our panel discussion, I do want to recognize in the room the Core Network's chair of our board, Mr. Derek Crandall. And Derek is here. And I say that because that's a great segue into this next panel. And I'm not introducing him, but please know that one of Derek's passions has been to find former Corps members to serve on the board of directors, because he feels that the voice from the field is definitely needed at the board level. And so with all of that, I'm going to ask one of my Legacy Achievement Award sisters to come up to introduce the panel for this afternoon, Ms. Debbie Dorsett.
Can you tell all the love in the room? Thank you, Marie. And now I have the great privilege to introduce a dynamic group of Corps alums who have continued to make a difference after completing their service. As Marie indicated, our moderator himself is an alum of Greater Miami Service Corps. And I think for those of you who were at the ceremony last night, you got a whiff of how awesome he is, and that he's now on our Core Network Board of Directors. Kiani McGee is a Miami-Dade County Commissioner and grew up in the South Dade community in the county. He got his degree right here from Howard University and a Juris Doctorate from Thurgood Marshall School of Law. He was first elected to the Florida House of Representatives in 2012 for Florida House District 117 and served as the minority leader from 2018 to 2020, when he was elected as Miami-Dade County Commissioner for District 9. He's an accomplished attorney and author of the best-selling book, Conquering Hope, The Life You Were Destined to Live. He has numerous affiliations, including the Florida Trial Lawyers Association, Wilkie D. Ferguson Bar Association. He was a member of the Greater Miami Service Corps Board of Directors. He is president and founder of Two Not Media and Publishing, founder of Yale, Young Advocates Leading by Example, president of Transitions Incorporated, and he was named Miami Rising Voices by AT&T and the Miami Herald, and earned the Florida Self-Sufficiency Award in 2010. Commissioner McGee is married to Stacy McGee and is father of Keone II, Haley, and Hayes. Sorry. I'd also like to recognize our panelists who will be joining him here this afternoon. Luis Cabreras, who began his career in the environmental field in 2015 as a crew leader for the Student Conservation Association. In 2018, he and a handful of friends co-founded Southeast Youth Alliance to help change the narrative of the southeast side of Chicago. Luis became heavily involved in the environmental justice movement in Chicago and wanted to bridge the gap between the EJ movement and conservation by hosting Days of Stewardship, which eventually developed into reimagined Days of Stewardship, where nature and culture blend to accurately reflect the community in which he lived. In his current position with the Chicago Park District, Luis proudly holds the title of Environmental Educator, a reflection of where his passion for nature first started to where he is now. He was also the 2020 Corps Member of the Year. If you could stand, please, and be recognized. Our next alum is Brianna Free, a hardworking wildfire firefighter with the U.S. Forest Service. She was born in San Diego, California, to a couple challenged by drug addiction. Knowing she deserved a better environment, Brianna managed to get herself and her brother out. They were adopted 3 years after entering foster care and started the healing process from there. As an adult, Brianna says she struggled to find her own identity and get to places she always dreamed of. When she connected with her birth mother, she told Brianna that she used to be in the California Conservation Corps. Brianna also joined the CCC the moment she learned that she was able to experience firefighting in the Corps. She was part of the crew in 2021 and won the Corps Network Corps Member of the Year in 2022. She is now working on a fire engine based in Montana. She has been hired back to work with them in 2023. Let's recognize Brianna Free. Now we'll have Josue Guevara, who was born in Parkville, Maryland, but was raised in Peru. Josue served several terms with the Student Conservation Association in roles ranging from mentoring high school students and helping build trails in Rock Creek Park, to serving as an intern with SCA's Integrated Fire Recreation Program. While serving as crew leader, Josue worked with and apprentice crew leaders, and help to guide and shape them into their leadership style. Josue's core experiences and leadership roles, along with his certification in chainsaw safety and operation, allows him to train others in chainsaw use. This led him to his current and permanent full-time employee position with the National Park Service at Rock Creek Park in Washington, D.C. He's currently in a detail as tree worker supervisor at Rock Creek Park. Let's give it up for Josue. Our next panelist is Domingo Morales. He's the founder of Compost Power, a Green City Forest alumnus and a compost consultant. His leadership and passion for a healthier and environmentally just city was born out of his lived experience. He saw firsthand how underserved communities, public housing buildings suffered from poor access and design. After serving with Green City Forest in 2015, Domingo's life trajectory changed. Today, he supports Green City Forest and NYCHA as an expert in safety and healthy composting practices, waste diversion programs, and coaching others to scale it across the city. Domingo is laser focused on making composting cool and accessible for everyone, especially public housing communities that otherwise might be left out. Domingo wants the NYC program to be the model for cities to follow. Domingo has helped manage the largest human-powered compost site in the country. He is an inaugural winner of the David Prize Award, a celebration of individuals who are creating a better, brighter New York City. Let's give it up for Domingo. And now, if I can welcome Commissioner McGee and our panelists to the stage.
Good morning. Is it morning or afternoon? Just want to make sure you're still awake. Let's give Debbie a round of applause for the great introduction she did to this young couple. These couples, men and women. Secondly, I just want to say to all the men in this room, can you do me a quick favor and just stand where you are? I promise you it won't be embarrassing. It'll be a great opportunity, trust me. You do trust me, right? Now, I just want you to look at, for about 5 seconds, we're going to turn around together, each and every last one of us, and we're going to thank every last woman in this room and recognize National Women's Month. All right? This is Women's Month. So we're going to recognize them and we're going to simply say thank you on a count of 3. But that count of 3 is going to be a long 3 count because I know you need a lot of time to thank each and every last woman in this room. On the count of 3. 1, you're going to turn around because I'm going to do the same thing that you're doing. 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, we can do better than that. So the second thing we're going to do, I promise you to be rather quickly on this one. It won't be a long 3 count or a 10 count, right? I did it yesterday, but this time I think it's going to be a tad bit different because I found something else that I think can really be intriguing at this moment. So the first thing I want you to do again is look at your neighbor next to you and say, "You look good." Just tell them, hurry up. There you go. I like that. Hit him in the side again. Just look, hit him right there in the rib. Like, tell him you look good. Now, tell the same person, you smell really good. Come on, come on. Oh, y'all think that's a joke. I really smell good. I put some deodorant on this morning. Yeah. Everybody's happy now. Now, ask the same person to loan you $500 until Friday. That wasn't funny at all, right? They're looking at you like, I wish you would. Madam President, again, thank you so much for allowing me to have this moment to stand before this group and our brothers and sisters on the front line of making sure that society is better tomorrow than it is today. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to serve with you and serve as a servant leader under your leadership and be there for you and serve in any and all capacities that you believe is necessary to move the Corps forward. And to all the board members, I just want to simply say thank you for allowing me to share the moment with you. I don't take this lightly. I understand each and every issue that we face, and I also understand and I appreciate the fact that you're allowing me to serve with you to face those challenges. And thirdly, I would like to say to Marie and Debbie, I love both of y'all. The energy that y'all bring to this room, it's unparalleled and it's unmatched. And Candace, I want to say to you, thank you so much just for being who you are. And to my staff, my team who came up, believe it or not, to Janie and Brandon, you probably have seen them around. Those are my bosses. I take direction from folk, who have my best interests, who have our best interests. And I just want to say thank you to each and every last one of you for that. Lastly, I want to say to this panel, I know you're nervous. Yeah.
He keeps looking at me.
Just a little bit. I know you're nervous.
Acting like I'm nervous.
I promise you, we got this. We got this. We're about to show the world what leadership is, how it looks, what are the elements, and how to push forward in times of difficult situations. And so it brings me to one of the questions that I have for Brianna. And this is not going to be the moderator dominate. This is more of a conversation. I think we get more out of having conversations than anything, because once we're done, we're going to have to save a few minutes for another happy birthday celebration for Tim. So we're going to have this conversation, and Tim doesn't know it yet, but I think someone is wheeling in a cake, and there may be some people jumping out of a cake. So everybody just make sure your tables are clear. But my first question is to Brianna, and this is something that I guess many people want to know, is how would you say that the Corps has shaped your ideas, your experience about leadership and where you are today?
Well, to be honest, when I joined the Corps, I was always a silent person. I never really decided to go out and communicate with people, and the Corps definitely helped me be more comfortable in my own skin and helped actually be a leader in a way to every other Corps member, which I didn't think I was, which actually really surprised me. A lot of people have come out to me after the fact that I was an inspiration, and it was through the Corps that it brought out my comfortability in my own skin and the ability that I am more than I think I am. A lot of the time we deal with a lot of mental issues, and I struggled with that a lot. And the Corps helped me define that I'm not those issues. I am a lot more, I am better, and I am greater. And by pushing through those hardships and by being someone like a positive light to everybody else, it helped them define that they aren't their mental issues as well. And I would honestly say, okay, I'm very nervous. Everything honestly is coming out in a jumble, and I hear myself and it doesn't sound right. But I think the main thing is that the Corps just made me feel comfortable in my own skin. They pushed me and made me get out of my comfort zone, which helped me. And even being here today is way out of my comfort zone. but it's helping me build my character and helping me be an inspiration to everybody around me, especially young adults who deal with these problems as well.
So Brianna, how would you describe your leadership style?
Well, when I was training for my red hat, we had a test to determine what our leadership style was, and mine was authoritarian. And yes, but I think it really, my C1 really helped me. I want to give a big shout out to Mustafa. This man helped me be comfortable, and he really pushed me to let my voice be heard because I always struggled with that. And I think my leadership has changed while being outside of the Cs. And I think it's been more of a motivator and someone who likes to be that light for someone else. I don't think commanding is quite my style anymore. And I think just by growing outside the Cs helped me determine that as well.
So which brings me to Domingo. What do you think are like the perception of leadership style? Are they seen as you are trying to be somebody you're not? It seem like you're trying to boss someone around? Does it seem like you're really trying to help? Like what would you say are perceptions of leadership style?
I think there are like different kinds of leaders. Growing up, going through the AmeriCorps program back in 2015, I met different style leaders. So there were some that were in awe of us and sort of studying us, figuring out what we needed, and kind of letting us figure that out on our own. You had some people that were authoritarian, right? Like, this is what you have to do. You have to do it. And then you had some people that their leadership styles to put you in leadership and figure out where the ball drops. So I think when I work with young adults, I'm more of like I set standards. We have standards that call my composting the diamond standard of composting. And once I set those standards, then I start to lay back a little bit and I let the young adults take charge of the program. And when I feel like they need a hand, some assistance, I'll jump in and maybe you should do this that way, or maybe you should think about this problem in another way. But I think with young adults, they hate pushy. So you have to strike that balance because, again, they're young adults and they need some guidance. But at the same time, they're young adults. So we have to let them be adults and let them take leadership. So yeah, I just think there's different styles of leadership. Some people are not meant for leadership, but they're great at doing the work. And there are some people on my team that are leaders, but the title gets in the way. So realizing that the people in leadership are not always the leaders. There are people who aren't the supervisor, who are actually the leaders on the team, and recognizing those people and the value they bring to the team.
Josue, you heard Mingo bring up a great point, right? Sometimes the title gets into the way of people being the best leader they can be and/or influencing people, motivating people, inspiring people. What would you say to that as it relates to titles getting into the way of people, and what would you say to them on how to get themselves out of the way from blocking progress?
I'd say that if the work needs to get done, it needs to get done. It really doesn't matter who's in charge. And I've never really thought that a title really should dictate kind of how things are going to go. Especially, I mean, from my experience right now at work, I'm the youngest in the maintenance yard by 30 years. And this is a maintenance crew and park service of 12 for a whole Rock Creek Park. So, and the guys I work with doing tree work have been doing it for 30 years. So I've kind of been put into the situation where I'm with really experienced people, and it's good. It's really good. They teach me a lot, and we haven't had a consistent supervisor until I came around 6 months ago. But we haven't had a supervisor for a year, and we still got the work done because we know it needs to get done. So I think the title really, it depends on your organizational structure, but title shouldn't get in the way of what needs to be done to keep things going. and keep things in a park healthy and safe for everyone to be there.
So, Louis, you heard what he just mentioned, and one of the things I do know is oftentimes there can be a disconnect between generational movement, generational ideas and ideologies. How would you propose that individuals who are not found within the same generation that you're in, how would you propose that they actually understand how they experience and how they influence individuals within your generation?
So my generation being Gen Z,
Yes.
right? So I like to think I'm of like a zillennial. I'm 24 years old, but I think I land on the older Gen Z. But it's interesting, right? It's a good question, and this has been a pretty decent conversation so far.
What
About
you expect?
leadership.
Like, you thought this
I
was
mean,
going to be
no,
like, hold on.
Dude.
What you expect?
I'm over here like, dang, what kind of leader am I? um, I'm a jazz band leader, by the way. Like I like pretty hands off, pretty like you do your thing, I do my thing. But I think that's also a reflection of my generational values, right? Again, being a little bit on the older Gen Z, but Gen Z nonetheless. Um, People are very straightforward. People want what they want, and they will go for it. So when you say the work needs to be done, some people will do it, right? But I think there's something to it about acknowledging why there isn't a supervisor. But that's beside the point. Really, the whole point, what I'm trying to say, what was that? Government. Yeah, government. Gen Z is way more straightforward, and they don't take crap. They don't take crap. I mean, I'm not somebody who will take crap either, and I lead by example, right? So I do my best to set the example for people younger than me, right? I sometimes, people who identify as first generation, people who identify Latino, young Latino male like myself, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in trying to reach those titles. It's easy to get caught up in trying to get, I don't know, director of this, coordinator of that. And for a while, sometimes you do. Sometimes I did. But I can't forget about the work that needs to be done. I can't forget why I started this work, right? So, and for Gen Z, that's very easy for them to hold on to, right? It's very easy for them to, this is my why, and I'm going to stick to that. And I'm not going to let anybody get in my way. But what I'm not to forget about the point about trailblazing your way, because I think what Gen Z really does really well is not forget about others, right? So the reason why I say I'm a jazz band leader is because that's my leadership style, and I think that is the leadership style, for younger people moving forward. They're not leaving people behind anymore. They're not trailblazing and not bringing people with them along the way, right? So that is the way, right? This is the way. Right? People get that joke, right? Okay. So they bring people up with them, right? And I do my best to also lead that way.
So, Brianna, you heard that last statement, and it's interesting because leading the way and going through the way and going on the journey is not always easy. And no matter how often people attempt to classify it as something it's not, but getting to the top or getting to the middle is difficult. It can be dirty, it can be time consuming, it can also cause hardship in life. Sometimes things happen to you that you didn't cause, but the question now to you is, how were you able to take your leadership style and get through the hardships? And how has the core positioned you to appreciate those elements of hardship so that you can be the person that you are today and also influence the future generation?
Well, I think that the core really brought out, again, okay, hold on. My brain just went blank. What was your question again?
Oh, don't worry. You're not nervous. Matter of fact, this is normal. So how has the core helped you get through trials and tribulations, help you get to the next level And how has it been able to take the experiences that you've gone through to create the young lady, the leader that you are today?
Well, being in the Forest Service is like, it's a male dominated career, first off. Being a woman, it's very hard, and you always have to put in the 110% every single step that you take. And the Corps really showed, well, mainly it would be my crew. The crew that I worked with, it was my first season, never done anything like this in my job, like in my life. I've never had a labor job. I worked at Starbucks. That was my job. And the Corps really helped me, especially the people that I worked with. When I went through these hardships and these troubles, they would see it on my face. You know, when you're really connected with these people that you work close with and you get to know them personally, they get to kind of pick up on those tiny signals that you give out that you're in trouble and that you just need a little bit of extra push or help. And they really helped me. And because it wasn't just aspects that happened or like life events happened in the job. It was things that were outside of my job that affected me as well. So it's like when you have all these people that come together and they help push you and motivate you through these things, it really helps you figure out how you are and how you work through these troubles. And I've already had a very troubled life. So working through these hardships, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't exactly hard either. I was able to know kind of how I would react in situations like these, but even in different circumstances, when I didn't know how to react or how my response was different, my crew helped like guide me in a way. And what was the second part to that question?
No, that was good. You answered the entire all questions I threw at you.
Okay.
You're good. You're ready to go. Oh, you killed it. Anybody else want to harp on those questions, or what about you?
Yeah, just quick back on the leadership. I think too, there's a lot of professions. I think trail building from my corpus experience is one of them, but that it oftentimes is helpful to take charge. Some people and some leadership styles, they like to be led, and in the absence of leaders, sometimes people, they go different ways. They're not really focused on the mission. So sometimes, in my experience, especially in tree work and what now I do as a supervisor, what I've done, especially with guys that have been doing it for 30 years plus, they want to see you take charge and they want to see that you know what you're talking about. You can't fake that stuff, and that has been so helpful for me because they have allowed me to do that, and I got that ability to take charge from doing my core experience of, okay, hey, we're gonna build this trail. We're gonna think about water, how we're gonna navigate water off here. Are we doing this right? Thinking through all the aspects of trail building, of being in a crew, and that translated really well into what I'm doing professionally now. But I think leadership also, take charge and lead from the front.
Which the next question, and I want to go back to Lewis on this one a little bit, is one of the quotes I use is that your struggles, the ingredients to your success, are found within your struggles. And there are countless individuals within your generation right now who are seeing social media, who are hearing about how much they are loved and how they can be leaders. What would you say to an individual who feels like he or she isn't a leader because they have gone through so much in life and they just feel that no one is there to quite understand them and at their core?
I mean, it's not an easy question, I'll tell you that. But I mean, from what I could understand, and from what I'm speaking from personal experience, I mean, I think Brianna, I mean, I think it's sort of building on that idea of building community, right? So, it's hard to do anything by yourself. So when you have people, next to you, beside you, who are possibly experiencing the same thing. You know what I used to tell high school students, and I used to work with high school students. What we used to tell them is that ask the question. It's like probably 10 other people probably have the same question too. There's this really good podcast that like the motto is ask smart people stupid questions. Yeah, ask people questions. And I mean, again, it's not always easy. It's not always easy to just do it, right? But what I think is what I find best and what I find how I stay rooted and how I don't slip in or how I don't spiral into maybe bad habits is sticking to community, sticking to people, family, cousins, friends, and you know what? A lot of those people are the same people who I grew up, who I was on the same cruise with. Right? These are these conservation corps crews that we've been friends since 2015. Now we're adults. I'm inviting them to my wedding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those types of things, you have to keep those people beside you.
Domingo, one of the things I've heard, especially with the Gen Z, is that the older folk don't quite understand Gen Z. And because they don't understand, it's hard to relate. What advice would you give to those of us who are looking at Gen Z and asking the question, are they listening?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I mean, that towards me.
No, Domingo.
I would say,
You did next though.
like you said, Gen Z doesn't take any crap, and they could smell a fraud, right? So, when you're talking to them, you have to be real and you have to be authentic. And I sort of, when I do engage with them, I engage with 100% myself. But at the same time, someone said earlier, like, why? Like, what's the point? Why are we even doing this? And that's a question that I get from Gen Z a lot. It's like, what's the point? Why care about the planet? So I think one thing one of my mentors, David Bucku, taught me was like, anytime you're asking someone to do something, try and tell them why before you ask them to do it. So if you're asking someone to shovel something, explain why we're shoveling that compost. Explain why we're planting the seeds in a public housing community. The why is important, and Gen Z, they cling on to that purpose. And then on top of the why, there has to be a future behind it. So whether we're leading them to the college route, whether there's actual careers and you're trying to line up real life career opportunities, job opportunities, they want to get paid. They don't, they have real issues, real rent to pay. Gen Z.
Say that again. Say that part again.
They want to get paid.
I got your back. You don't have to be afraid. I'm a former prosecutor. I got your back.
Yeah.
Just say that part again about being paid.
They want to be paid. Pay them.
Pay the people, folks.
So I think paying them is important and ensuring that they stay paid even after the program, because we all want to make a better planet, but we all have real lives. A lot of Gen Z, they have kids, they're young parents, and there are mothers out there that don't have childcare. And how are they going to keep a job if they don't have daycare for their kids? So
say that part.
So I think connecting those dots, making it a real possibility for them to continue doing this work for the planet, but at the same time making sure they have what they need on their day-to-day life is how you keep them connected. Once they figure out like this is just another dead-end opportunity and this is not going to end anywhere for them, you'll lose all hope from them, and they'll stop paying attention. So for me, it's always trying to learn them, figure out like what they like, because not everybody likes shoveling compost, which is odd, right? So I use like composting as a tool to figure out what they actually want to do, whether it's solar panels, whether it's landscape engineering, plumbing. Compost relates to everything. So I like compost because it's a way for me to like learn what the person likes and figure out what the next steps are for them before they leave me. And that's how I keep them engaged, and that's why they like working with me.
Anybody want to jump?
Actually, no, you got it. You had it. Yeah. No,
I think there's an agreement up here on the pay part, right?
Oh, big time.
Pay them.
So the next question now becomes, since we now know they want to be paid, they want to know what's next, self-preservation, and give me an example of, Domingo, give me an example, like how would you convey that message? Like if there is a person that you're leading in front of you and he or she is faced with the exact same scenario you just described, and that person has a shovel in his or her hand, explain to them what they're about to do and how that applies to their future, and what benefit it is to the environment, but more so to humankind.
Yeah. So for us, it's
No. I get that part.
yeah.
But talk to me as if I have the shovel in my hand, because we're trying to make that connection.
Yeah.
Leadership requires, you can't be a leader of one.
Yeah.
There has to be more than one, right? There has to be a connection. So talk to me as if I'm the person, I'm walking in, I have a shovel in my hand. Tell me, why is it good to put the shovel to work?
Okay. So welcome to our composting.
Stand up. There we go. This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
So welcome to our compost site. Nice to meet you. We're going to make some compost piles today, and it's people like you that make the world a better place. The food scraps that we recycle, people consider trash, but it's actually a resource, and you're going to help us turn that into a resource. You're going to help us make some black gold. And the food scraps that we're turning into finished compost, we're going to actually give to the Green City Forest Farms in New York City, and we're going to grow food for the residents for free. So we're going to make the world a better place by making sure our soil can capture carbon. We're going to feed people, but at the same time, you're going to learn a lot about chemistry, biology, and a lot of sustainable programs that you might take interest to around New York City.
So Louis and Brianna and Jose, they shaking their head like, yeah, he got that locked down. Like that guy has that elevator speech locked down. So Louis, you ready? You're doing the same thing, buddy. It's one thing to talk about theory. It's one thing to be practical. Why don't you stand up and tell us exactly and show through how you're going to interact with me, your elevator spiel, your elevator speech, your elevator. I know you're shaking your head, but you're good looking. You're a jazz guy. You're ready to go. Isn't he good looking, y'all? Stand it up. Few seconds. Let's do it. Now you got the audience in front of you. They're watching you. They're watching you every move. Look at you. How you holding that microphone. Talk to me.
You want me to do an elevator speech for my program?
So why you lowering your voice, man? Like speak with that bass in your voice, or I got it. Go ahead.
So I'm really trying to get an honest.
No, the assessment.
Better.
So it's not easy what you're doing, and this was not even scripted. But the audience love y'all. Right. So if I'm walking in off the street, or if I'm in your care, you're my leader.
Right.
And you discussed leadership. Now, be that leader right now and talk to me, someone who's walking in and looking for leadership and looking for help. So give me a 30 seconds breakdown, talk to me, get me off the edge, and put me in position.
Okay, well, just for context, he's walking into the Ford Calumet Environmental Center at Big Marsh. This is where I work. So I work at the Ford Calumet Environmental Center. Welcome to the center, sir. So here today we have an exhibit that that I can walk you through. We can learn about the history of the Southeast Side, land use. So we're talking about the land use of the Southeast Side. You got to do that, man. Come on. We have some jobs lined up. The Park District is hiring for the Natural Areas crews. Friends of Big Marsh is also hiring for their trail crew. You can, if you're of age, if you're of the skill set, you can hire you for the trail crew leader. You can help guide young people from the Southeast Side.
How does this benefit?
How does this benefit you? You get paid based on your skill set. You get paid up to $23 an hour. For the Natural Areas crews, you can get paid up to $30 an hour. It's a really good job. It's a union job. You get paid breaks. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on up.
Man, these are for all of us.
All right. Well, hi, my name is Brianna. Welcome to the Forest Service. As you are working here today, you are going to be starting off as the lowest level, which is a firefighter type 2. So as a firefighter type 2, we like to do a lot of restoration and we like to do a lot of fire prevention. So as a firefighter type 2, we each have a saw in Montana, which is awesome, by the way. We all have our personal saw. But in Montana, you will get your own personal saw. You'll be able to cut any tree with supervision, of course, because you are not qualified quite yet. But I will say that the pay is quite miserable. You get paid $15 an hour and you get paid in more hard work. If you are down for that, you are perfect for this position.
All right, I know he's ready. Look at him. He's like, yeah, I got this. I got it.
Welcome to the National Park Service. You want to be a tree worker, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
You notice something? He engaged me. He engaged me. First sign of leadership, engage those you're going to lead.
so you see that dead tree over there? If
I'm
that
not looking at the people, man. I'm just looking at the wall. Because I'm not going to have anyone to say that I called them dead. So I'm going to look at the wall.
if that dead tree falls and kills someone, we're responsible.
So now it's we.
Yeah. So our job has value. When we don't do something, someone could get hurt. So every day we got to come to work ready to do something, to mitigate something, ready to do something for our visitors, keep them safe. And without you here, we can't do that. So
That's good. That's good.
Oh, he already did his.
No, I know he didn't. You want to try it again? You good? All right, he's nervous.
I'm good.
All right, are we good on time? How much more time we should be? Okay. The folk over there showing me a card, y'all. They're saying you got like 5 minutes left. So we're going to try to do something in 5 minutes. And again, this is not scripted, but the best of you come out when there's no script, right? Audience, do you have a question? Anyone in the audience have a question for them? Any person up here? Please stand and ask your question.
Hi, Charity.
Woo.
I have a question. So I know a lot of Gen Z feel as though, specifically BIPOC, like myself, come from and got this room, kind of facing a level of adversity in society. Sometimes we feel like we close doors on ourselves. And I want to ask you guys, have you ever felt as though you have closed a door on yourself because of where you come from? Or have you ever felt that something wasn't achievable because of your identity or because of where you come from?
Yeah, Yeah, you didn't get that question in the email. Yeah. Yep.
I'll start. So back in 2015, when I was serving with Green City Force, one of my training sites was at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and the qualifications for that job were a college degree and a driver's license. And I'm from New York City, where you don't need a car to drive around, to travel. So I didn't have a driver's license and I didn't have a college degree. And I just decided when the person that was training me said, "Hey, Domingo, you should apply for this. You're one of the best people for the job." I immediately in my head said, "Well, this job is not meant for me. I'm not qualified. Why would I even apply for something that they're not going to hire someone who looks like me anyway?" So it was Lisbeth Shepard, who was in charge of Green City Force at the time, and she pressured me. And then also Jennifer Torado, who kind of didn't want me to apply because she didn't want to lose me from the program. But they said, "Domingo, like, if you want to apply, like, I'm sure you should do it for the experience." And I closed the door on myself immediately, and I said, "I'm not going to get this position." But then they kicked the door down, and they said, "No, apply for that job, go interview." And of all the other college graduates that applied for that job, I was the best fit for the job and I got hired. So, yeah. So I think for me, I did close the door on myself, and I was young. I was 23 at the time, and I'm like, well, but having a support system, so having people who believe in you, and that's what the Corps does. These AmeriCorps programs, they have people that actually believe in us, and they see the potential that maybe we don't even see at the time. So listening to those people who bring you up and boost you up. Sometimes you may feel like you have imposter syndrome. Like, am I meant to be here? But you are. We are all special, and we all have similar scars that make us even stronger. So.
Next, do you have any other questions? So y'all afraid of them? Oh, we got one back there. Don't be afraid of them. I got your back.
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm from Vermont Youth Conservation Corps. My question for you all is, what do you think are the most important missing parts of leader training?
Missing parts of leader training.
That was a good question.
I
You have 5 folk up here actually trying to think it through.
I think one of the most difficult parts of being a leader that no one really can teach you about, and it's a lot about life experience and how you handle tough situations, is dealing with tough people, which you get a lot in the blue collar world. And I don't think there's ever been a life experience that could ever teach me how to do that. And as a leader, that's something you just have to, it's hard, but you have to like listen, be open, and just let things come in and out, and just validate people when you need to validate them, but learn, ultimately bring it back to, we have something to do here and we need to do that today. And I hear you, but those types of things as a leader, I think we need to emphasize more, especially this transitioning period from our generation to the older generation. I think we need to do that a little bit better.
Thank you. One more question before we turn it over. Mr. Winfield.
So I'm not Gen Z.
Man, that's obvious, man. What are you trying to do? You're trying to.
But from my perspective, I'm with Civic Works out of Baltimore. Name is Winfield. One of the things that I emphasize with the young people that I work.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
One of the things that I emphasize with the young people that I work with is the importance of developing soft skills, and that's my lens based on my life experiences, saying what I think they need in order to matriculate out of our program and be successful. Through your lens, how important do you believe soft skills development is?
I could totally help with that. I mean, especially when it comes to young people. I mean, we just had a question from Charity. The question was based in structural racism, right? Like how does our identity, hinder our pathway forward? Developing those soft skills also means developing a critical mind, right? So it's very critical. I mean, just understanding that type of question, and I thank you for that question, because I had a hard time thinking about it. I'm like, dang, like, Domingo, you answered it like perfectly. But to answer the question about soft skills, I mean, it's just as important as those hard skills, as knowing how to build the trail, and also knowing how to lead, how to meet somebody where they're at when they're having a hard time, and how to push them forward, how to challenge them when they're having a good time. Well, you're doing great. Well, you can do even better. And I think that's just also like a big thing with Gen Z as well. It's just they grew up during a pandemic, right? Some of them, most people didn't. I graduated online. My diploma came in the mail, and we celebrated, right? But the point being is that we had a lot of our milestones during the pandemic. They had a lot of milestones during the pandemic. So it's a lot of soft skills weren't developed. So you as adults and mentors to younger people, it is very important to advocate for those soft skills for sure.
Thank you very much. And the last thing we're going to do before we wrap up we need one word. How would you describe your experience with the Corps? One word. I know you're looking for that paragraph.
I'm rewarding.
Love it.
Life-changing.
Love it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. One word I'd say is grit. Taught me grit.
Ooh, got it.
Resilience.
Wow, powerful. Let's give them a round of applause, y'all. And while you're standing up, I got one last thing. You know, I honestly believe power is found within energy. And so the energy we give is the energy we receive back, right? So on the count of three, just follow me on this one. Just trust me. We're going to tell each and every last one of them collectively that they look great. So on the count of three, we're just going to send some positive energy to them. 1, 2, 3. Secondly, hold on. Secondly, we're going to tell them they sound great. 1, 2, 3. You sound great. And last, definitely not least, and I would probably put this at the very top. We're going to tell them they are just damn great. 1, 2, 3. You're just damn great. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I think this is the part they're kicking us out.
I know that the commissioner, we told the former Corps members that they're great, but how about this new board member that we have? A Q? There's a Q in the house. Y'all, that's all right. That's all right. The Divine Nine has shown up. Anyway, moving right along. All right, we're getting ready to close out this plenary session. But before we do, I want to do a shout out to some folks that I know are out there in TV land. Remember yesterday I told you that we're doing a new thing here. And one of the things that we're doing is that we are simultaneously live broadcasting. So this is Corps Member Day. So there are some corps like SCA, I see you. LACC, I see you. Gulf Corps, I see you. Heart of Oregon, I know you're in the house. You're in the room. That's okay. It may be on camera, but you're still with us. ACE, come on. I know you're out there. Green City Force, let's hear it for New York. Civic Works. And for those of you in Philadelphia, Power. Here we go. And Groundworks USA. All of you all are out there, and we thank you for joining us live, for being with us on today. And now, as we go to our 2 workshop blocks, there will be a snack break in between those workshop blocks, so don't worry about it. Around 2:45, it'll be right outside the ballroom here. And then we will gather back here at 4:30. Look at your neighbor and say, 4:30, have your face back in the place. All right. How many of you, just to give you a little heads up of what's about to come at 4:30 this afternoon, do you all remember seeing the documentary last year? You remember that documentary? Guess what, folks? That young man is in the room. All right. Y'all didn't see the documentary because he was incarcerated for over 25 years. He's in the room today. And I'll let them talk about, but I just want you to get yourself ready because you do not want to miss 4:30 this afternoon. Don't forget our social media. The cards are on all the tables. Don't forget to post your pictures. And thank you for live chat. We see you. Please continue to send those questions, comments, statements in. We see you. We feel you. And just be ready for the rest of the day. Remember, this evening, we will be celebrating core members of the year. All right. The projects of the year. And then we got a couple of other surprises. And it does not involve me. So, but we have a few other surprise guest appearances coming on tonight. So get ready, be prepared, and we'll see you back here at 4:30.